This episode is sponsored by Music and Cigar Podcast, a podcast where you can sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice cigar. As your host, Eddie Roy, sit and discuss music and cigars with special guests. This podcast can now be streamed on all major platforms, so visit your favorite podcast site and listen today. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to Music and Cigar Podcast. I'm Eddie Roy. On this show, I interview and discuss various rap and R&B soul artists as I delve into reviewing a diverse range of cigars and their brands, even sitting down with other music and cigar connoisseurs. So let's sit down, light a cigar, and discuss music and cigars. Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Music and Cigars. I'm your host, Eddie Roy, and on today's episode, we have a very special guest. He's a retired from the Chicago Fire Department. He decided to go ahead and do his own, create his own cigar line called Star Line Cigars. His taste in cigars and his love for history allowed him to make each and every cigar with a meaning and purpose behind it. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. Aric Bey. How you doing,
What's
Eric?
what's happening, brother? How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for joining the show. I apologize to the audience for the wait. I had some technical difficulties, but I'd like to go ahead and get this episode started. First and foremost, with Veteran Day approaching, I want to thank you for serving for the fire department and retiring and giving back to the people and protecting the people in your city.
Yeah, thanks for acknowledging me, bro.
You're welcome. So, to start the show, I wanted to ask you um, from transitioning from firefighter, being a retired fighter from Chicago, what made you want to get into your own cigar line?
I started smoking full time in the firehouse, so that's where I got the inspiration to start Black Star Line. So I was actually sitting here in my man cave. This is where I sit and smoke. And I was thinking about a business I wanted to start. So sitting smoking and thinking about it, and then the voice in my head was like, "Yo, look at your hand, brother. You got the business you look for is in your hand." So I was like, all right, we gonna want to do cigars. So I reached out to my childhood friend, asked him did he want to help me start the company. He said, hell yeah, let's go. So we started networking at Drew Estate events. Got real cool with Jonathan Drew. Jonathan Drew encouraged me to talk to El Titan de Bronze, or El Titan de Bronze, as many commonly call it in Miami. That's Willie Herrera's family from Drew Estate. So I chased them for a while because Sandy's the owner. Sandy wasn't in the factory because her mother was sick. So
Mhm.
kept calling, wasn't getting anything. So I decided to send flowers down there to wish the family well and also to keep me on their mind. I still didn't hear nothing. So a
Mm.
couple of months after that, I decided, well, not decided. It was the same voices told me, like, yo, you need to call right now. Call El Tito de Bronze. So I called. And Giselle, Willie Herrera's wife, answered the phone. And I asked for Sandy, and she was like, "Oh, Sandy's right here." So she handed the phone. She handed the phone over to Sandy. I told Sandy who I was. Sandy said, "You were the nice guys from Chicago that sent me those flowers a couple of months ago, right?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that was me." And she said, "You know how to treat a woman, so I'm gonna do these blends for you." So El Titan de Bronze gave birth to Black Star Line.
Wow. Bro, that's interesting. I never knew the history behind it, and I'm sure that there is documented interviews that you've had behind it. But that's a pretty interesting way to go ahead and create your own cigar brand. Much like how you had an epiphany about smoking cigars and turning it into a business. That's kind of the same way I did with my music and cigar podcast. I sat here I usually after work I'll smoke a cigar and listen to music on my Bluetooth outside on the porch, just chill. And what I would do is I just had this idea. I always wanted to do podcasting, but I just had this idea of just making, turning what I do like to do for fun for an actual business. So, you know, with the history behind starting the Black Line Star Cigar brand, I really appreciate just knowing the history behind it. I wanted to ask you, so there is a specific process that goes through creating your own brand, correct? Like, what is it that what have you learned from just starting up, and what would you do over again as far as like?
Mm, there's no uniform process to starting a brand. I mean, what would be uniform is, you got to have all your paperwork in order. You had to get a tobacco license. That's the first thing you got to have, because no verifiable factory is going to talk to you if you don't have a tobacco license. So that's the first thing you got to have. And then the most important thing you got to have some money. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have any money to buy tobacco, you dead in the water. What would I do different in my journey?
Mhm.
I wouldn't change a thing about mine. My journey is all about persistence and keep following up on what I wanted, because I wanted to be in this industry. I kept fighting to be in there, and I kept fighting and fighting, and I got with a very reputable factory from Jump Street. Sandy doesn't work with everybody. El Titen de Browns does not work with everybody. They only work with certain people, and she chose me to bring me into the fold, to bring me into their family. And there's absolutely nothing I would change about my journey, bro. It was lightning in a bottle. It was blessings from the universe, from the heavens above. And yeah, I wouldn't change it, brother.
That's amazing. So, where did you get your inspiration from? Like your I noticed that you had your names on your cigars. Where do you get your inspiration from? Like, how do you come up with just saying, okay, like for instance, the Maroon five, or the Maroon cigar? I know that has to do with your 5 year anniversary, correct?
Indeed.
Okay, but how did you come up with like the Rosewood and that cigar that you came out with regarding the Black Samurai? Like, how did you come up
Yes,
with
yes, K.
those ideas? Yeah,
Yes, yes, K.
that's K.
Rosewood 1923. That project had been in the working for a while, because me and James Brown had been talking about working with each other for at least a year and a half. But he was expanding the factory of Oveja Negra. That's Black Label Trading Company.
Okay.
We were going to call it something else, but Rosewood kept popping into my head. It was January of 2023. So Rosewood kept popping in my head to the point I was like, let me look up Rosewood and see, why do you all want me to look at this? I'm talking about like spirits and stuff. So I looked up Rosewood 1923, and lo and behold, the 100-year anniversary of that event had happened January of 2023. I mean, 1923. So the 100-year anniversary was in January 2023. So that's why I was like, man, it's got to be something from up above that's telling me they want the homage to be paid to them for that cigar. So that's why I decided to
Mhm.
call it that. Maroon is in Nigerian for the Yoruba tribe of Nigeria. Maroon means five, so that's why
Mhm.
I chose that. I wanted to have a meaning to it, but I wanted to be very simple too. So it just simply means five, because it's our 5th year anniversary of being in an industry.
Congratulations again. Like, just listening to you come up with the ideas and having the plans to uh, just listening to your mind, your thoughts, and saying, okay, hey, for instance, like you said, the Rosewood, Rosewood kept coming into your head, and you did your research and found out why, what was so specific about what was so significant about Rosewood, as well as the Maroon Five. I mean, that's that's quite interesting. It's quite impressive to me. That was one of the main things. I found you on Instagram and through I guess other pages and everything, and I just came across your page and I just saw how you put things together, how your um, Instagram presence and your presence was just putting your brand out there. You stand behind your brand, and most people they they look at it as a hobby, but you do it full time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So from being a firefighter, um, what would you take? What would you? How would tying in like the discipline, the teamwork, the work ethic? Do you think that played a part in your work ethic on building this brand for 5 years?
Of course, it wasn't just a firefighter though, bro.
Right, right.
I used to be a licensed banker for Chase. I used to have a Series 6 or 63 life insurance licenses. I was a pharmaceutical sales rep for Eli Lilly. I used to sell diabetes medicine. I sold osteoporosis medicine. I was halfway through law school when the fire department called me. I have two master's degrees, so I'm well educated. So
Hmm.
my entire life is about education, persistence, and going after what I want.
Yes, sir.
So, as the fire department, yeah, it's very persistent because you have to put the fire out. You got to rip ceilings out. You got to cut holes in ceilings. You got to make sure that you make it home safe to your family. So that I was very persistent about making it back home, and making sure that my family's not coming to visit me in a cemetery. So, yeah, all my experience all over my life, and I was raised by two educators too. My father was a principal of a high school, and my mother retired as a child psychologist, and they both started off as teachers. So, yeah, that's where a lot of the education of the cigars and the names that I use is because I want to teach people as well as give you entertainment of enjoying the tobacco.
Wow, that's interesting, man. Uh, how would you say that? How would you say the transitioning over to um, another topic that I wanted to discuss with you? Since we're on music and cigars, how do you think that? What would you say uh, makes people have a great experience with music and cigars? Just enjoying and at cigar lounges. How do you think they tie in together? How do you think the cigars? If people smoke your cigars, how do you think listening to music and everything blends well with maybe at a cigar lounge?
Depends on the environment because the music can enhance or distract you from your smoking experience. It could distract you if you're in a party type of environment where the music is too loud and you have to yell at people to talk to them. That's the environment I do not want. I don't like to have to. I like to have conversations with people when I'm in cigar lounges or when I'm smoking, and I do not want to have to yell at you. Where the point where I'm leaving out of there, my voice is hoarse because I had to keep yelling because the music is so loud, like it's a club. I like
Right.
it more so where it's in the background, whereas you can chime into a conversation and talk to somebody, or if you want to step out of the conversation, listen to the music, you can because it's right in the middle. It's not too loud and it's not too low.
Right. Typically, when I go into a cigar lounge, it's the same kind of vibe, just like you said. I don't want to be yelling over nobody, or trying to, or yelling across to somebody, trying to get my point across and enjoy a cigar. And it kind of takes away the experience of just enjoying a nice cigar stick. Um, Me personally, when I have people over, or if I'm at a cigar lounge, what I like to do, I just play it at a low level, but low enough to where I can hear the music, but uh, and high enough to where I can enjoy the music at the same time. It's something about music that I like. But when it's time to smoke a cigar and have a good conversation with somebody, that's usually my go-to. Just play it, low enough to where I can just vibe. But sometimes, when you be at cigar lounges, you can't really control. Like I know the cigar lounges here. some people like to bring their Bluetooth. Sometimes we might have a DJ, and sometimes you can't control uh, whether or not who's playing the loud music. So that's it's
Now,
almost the tricky part.
not to interrupt you, where is here?
Yeah. I'm here is well in my city and my house and
Okay. What
yeah,
city?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Never been there.
Huntsville, Alabama is we have a many cigar lounges. One particular cigar lounge is off of 72. I really like to go to. It's called Cigar Room on 72. But
Okay.
yeah, I live in Huntsville, Alabama. Are you still currently reside in Chicago, right?
Oh yeah. South
Okay,
side, baby.
okay, okay. Um, let's see here. So, if you could smoke a cigar, what and listen to music, what would be your perfect pairing with the cigar? With the music that you would choose, like what do you typically play at your home, or what do you like to listen to when you smoke your cigar?
I listen to some of everything, but I'm a hip hop head, so I listen to a lot of hip hop. I listen to
Okay.
jazz, I listen to some rock, R&B. I listen to some of everything, but
Is it
primarily hip hop though.
what is who's your favorite artist? Who do you kick it off with?
KRS One.
Hmm. Okay. I'm more of a maybe like a J. Cole type of person. That's what I kick it off with. Or I might listen to something like a Big Crit or something like that. Just something just to not too hardcore, but KRS-One is a great artist, and he's a real respected artist as well. Being from Chicago, have you ever came across any of the Chicago rappers like Common or Kanye West?
Um, ran into crucial conflict before. Uh, Kanye West bought the house next door to me for a lady that I didn't like, so I'm not too particularly fond of Kanye because of that, but
Oh
because
wow.
he wasn't a good neighbor.
Oh
Uh,
man,
but yeah, other Chicago artists. And I've never met Common. I know Pete Rock though. I know
Pete
Pete Rock
Rock.
very
Okay,
well. Yeah, I know Pete
okay,
Rock very well.
okay. Yeah. That's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate that he did that. But and I'm sorry you had to go through that. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Um, so let me ask you this: the um time back into music because I love to talk about music and cigars.
Okay.
Uh, is there any artist or I'll say any artist or any uh, cigar connoisseur that you see online or maybe admire or whatever that you would like to sit and discuss music and cigars with?
Mm,
Like,
Scarface.
you know, Scarface?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Scarface is one of a kind. Scarface is one of a kind. I kind of like his storytelling. Um, one of my main songs I like from him will be "Smile" featuring Tupac.
hmm It's a good
Yeah,
song.
yep. Um, I would say that I would like to chill and smoke a cigar with. I would say mm, Jay Z, only for the simple fact that I know that in the music industry, or Nas. Nas would probably be another one that I would like to sit and discuss music and cigars with, especially Nas, because Nas just his knowledge and having his own cigar brand. I would talk to him about how he got into cigars and what
Okay.
influenced him to be with into cigars. Um, let's see what
That
else here.
company, right?
You said what? Oh,
I say, you know,
okay.
Nas doesn't own that company, right? He
No, I
just
didn't know
promotes it.
that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought he just. I thought he had his own cigar brand, but I never like. I didn't know he
Yeah,
didn't
he
own.
promotes it, bro. He does. I've
Okay.
met the owners, and they, you know, they're two older Caucasian men.
Okay. Okay. So let's see what else I wanted to touch on. Would you would you say that smoking cigars is therapeutic in some sense?
Of course. So it's
How
how you relax. It's how you get trouble off your mind. It's how you escape reality. Especially if you go to a cigar lounge, you leave all your troubles at the door, and you just sitting there, you smoke, and you have conversations with people of different colors, genders. It doesn't matter. You know, you just get to know other people, or go there with your buddies and have some whiskey, have a cigar, have a good time.
exactly? Yeah, I would definitely say that music and music cigars and just smoking cigars. Period is therapeutic for me. You know, usually when I sit down and smoke my cigars, you know, I think about the past, the present, and the future. You know, and you know, just I could be having a long day, a long day. And when I smoke my cigars, you know, I just at the end of it, you know, it makes me feel, uh, you know, better, or you know, not as bad as what I felt maybe before I smoked my cigar. So that's
Mm.
pretty cool. Um, is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to talk to the people about? Any any new cigars that you have that you want to
Yeah. There's
discuss?
a new cigar coming out. I can't tell you the name of it, but it is coming out for PCA 25, Premium Cigar Association. So it will be released in New Orleans
Okay,
for the cigar trade show. So yeah, there is a new blend coming. Um, there's the new blend coming for NFG 25, which is No Fucks Given, which is a fest that's held every year by Underground Cigar Shop in Fort Worth, Texas. So that'll be in March. There'll be something new coming there. So, and then other than that, I'll be expanding out some sizes that I of my current blends that I have through Aganorsa.
okay, okay. That's cool. Where can the people find you online, and how can they purchase your cigars?
You can go to blackstarline.shop, and on there is a where to buy page. I do not sell direct to consumer. So when you go to the where to buy page, it lists all the brick and mortars that I'm carried at, and it also lists all the online shops that sell my products. So like Small Batch, Black Lion Luxury, Provider Club, Underground Cigar Shop, they all sell online. Cigars and farms in Pennsylvania that he sells my stuff online as well. So you can find me online. You can also find me in brick and mortar as I'm carried in over 100 lounges nationwide.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bay, Mr. Eric, for coming on to the show. I really appreciate your time, and I was looking forward to this interview all week, man. So I really appreciate you coming on to the show and giving your insight on music and cigars.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
That concludes our episode, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Music and Cigars. If you can, follow me on all platforms at Music and Cigars. And we'll see you later. Peace.